play an important role in our lives. They are used for various purposes. In this module, we will learn about some beneficial uses of microorganisms. Microorganisms are friends. Preparation of curd and bread. You must have seen your mother boiling the milk, then cooling it, and then putting some curd in that. After several hours, the milk sets as curd. Curd contains lactobacillus bacteria which promotes the formation of curd. Let us do an activity to understand more. Take half kg flour, that is wheat or maida. Add some sugar and warm water to it. Add a small amount of yeast powder and knead to make a soft dough. Yeast reproduces rapidly and produces carbon dioxide during respiration. Bubbles of the gas fill the dough and increase its volume, so we see dough rising. And this is the process of creation of flour for bhaturas and idlis. Take a 500 ml glass. Fill 3/4 of the glass with water. Dissolve some sugar in it. Add half spoon of yeast powder to the sugar solution. Keep it covered in a warm place for 4 to 5 hours. Now smell it. This is the smell of alcohol. Sugar has been converted into alcohol by yeast. This process of conversion of sugar into alcohol is known as fermentation. Production of antibiotics. The medicines that kill or stop the growth of the disease-causing microorganism are called antibiotics. These antibiotics are manufactured by growing specific microorganism. For example, streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin, and penicillin, etc. Antibiotic was first discovered by Alexander Fleming in 1929. Alexander Fleming was working on a culture of disease-causing bacteria. Suddenly, he found the spores of a little green mold in one of his culture plates. He observed that the presence of mold prevented the growth of bacteria. In fact, it also killed many of these bacteria. From this mold, penicillin was prepared. Penicillin was the first antibiotic to be created. In your childhood, you must have been given vaccines through injections or drops to protect you against several diseases such as measles, polio, tuberculosis, cholera, hepatitis, etc. Now, can you tell what a vaccine is? Vaccine is a collection of dead or weakened microbes. When dead or weakened microbes are introduced into a healthy body, the body forms antibodies to fight and kill these microbes. These antibodies remain in the body. Through this process, body remembers how to fight these microbes if they enter again in the body. Nowadays, vaccines are made on a larger scale from microorganisms. Increasing soil's fertility. Some bacteria and blue-green algae are able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. These microbes are commonly known as biological nitrogen fixers. Cleaning the environment. Let us do an activity. Take 2 pots and fill each pot half with soil. Mark the pots as A and B. Put plant waste in pot A and things like polythene bags, empty glass bottles and broken plastic toys in pot B. Put the pots aside for 3 to 4 weeks. You will find that plant waste in pot A has been decomposed and converted into manure by the action of microbes. The nutrients released in this process can be used by the plants. But microbes could not act on the polythene bags, empty glass, etc. placed in pot B. You must have seen large amount of dead organic matter in the form of decaying plants and sometimes dead animals. The microorganisms decompose dead organic waste of plants and animals and convert them into simple substances, and therefore the dead and decaying plants and animals disappear after some time. Thus, microorganisms can be used to decompose harmful and usually waste substances and thereby clean up the environment. So, we have seen that microorganisms are very useful. They help in the preparation of curd and bread, in the preparation of alcohol, wine and acetic acid, in the preparation of antibiotics, in the preparation of vaccine, increasing the fertility of soil, and most importantly, cleaning up the environment. Has 78% nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is one of the essential constituents of all living organisms as part of proteins, chlorophyll, nucleic acids, and vitamins. The atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. There are some processes by which atmospheric nitrogen is converted into the form which can be used by plants, and these are: lightning fixes nitrogen, rhizobium bacteria present in the root nodules of leguminous plants fix atmospheric nitrogen, certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into compounds of nitrogen. Once nitrogen is converted into the usable compounds, it can be utilized by plants from the soil through their root system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of proteins and other compounds. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous wastes into nitrogenous compounds, which can again be used by plants. Certain other bacteria also convert some parts of these wastes to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. As a result, the percentage of nitrogen present in the atmosphere remains more or less constant. Microorganisms are harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause diseases in human beings, plants, and animals. Such disease-causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Some microorganisms spoil food, clothing, and leather. Let us study more about their harmful activities. Disease-causing microorganisms in humans. Pathogens enter our body through the air we breathe, the water we drink, or the food we eat. They also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried through an animal. Microbial diseases that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food, or physical contact are called communicable diseases. Examples of such diseases include cholera, common cold, chickenpox, and tuberculosis. When a person suffering from common cold sneezes, fine droplets of moisture carrying thousands of viruses are spread in the air. The virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing. There are some insects and animals which act as carriers of disease-causing microbes. Housefly is one such carrier. The flies sit on the garbage and animal excreta. Pathogens stick to their bodies. When these flies sit on uncovered food, they may transfer the pathogens. Whoever eats the contaminated food is likely to get sick. So, it is advisable to always keep food covered. Avoid consuming uncovered items of food. Another example of a carrier is the female Anopheles mosquito, figure 2.8, which carries the parasite of malaria. Female Aedes mosquito acts as a carrier of dengue virus. How can we control the spread of malaria or dengue? All mosquitoes breed in water. Hence, one should not let water collect anywhere, in coolers, tires, flower pots, etc. By keeping the surroundings clean and dry, we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding. Try to make a list of measures which help to avoid the spread of malaria. Disease-causing microorganisms in animals. Disease-causing microorganisms in animals not only cause diseases in humans and plants, but also in other animals. For example, anthrax is a dangerous human and cattle disease caused by a bacterium. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by a virus. Disease-causing microorganisms in plants. Several microorganisms cause diseases in plants, like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and others. The diseases reduce the yield of crops. This table shows some such plant diseases. They can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which kill the microbes. Part 1. In the earlier modules, we have learned about the methods used to preserve and store food grains. How do we preserve cooked food at home? You know that bread left unused under moist conditions is attacked by fungus. Microorganisms spoil our food. Spoiled food emits bad smell and has a bad taste and changed color. Let us study the common methods to preserve food in our homes. We have to prevent it from the attack of microorganisms. Chemical method. Salts and edible oils are the common chemicals generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Therefore, they are called preservatives. We add salt or acid preservatives to pickles to prevent the attack of microbes. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfite are common preservatives. They are also used in the jams and squashes to check their spoilage. Preservation by common salt. Common salt has been used to preserve meat and fish for ages. Meat and fish are covered with dry salt to check the growth of bacteria. Salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Preservation by sugar. Jams, jellies, and squashes are preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content, which inhibits the growth of bacteria which spoil food. Preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment. Vegetables, fruits, fish, and meat are often preserved by this method. Heat and cold treatments. You must have observed your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used. Boiling kills many microorganisms. Pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes. The milk is heated to about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of microbes. This process was discovered by Louis Pasteur. It is called pasteurization. Storage and packing. These days, dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed, airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes.